Gnostic Five Sisters Knowledge, Kings and Queens Entertainment Education Academy is on the air. With Talkline from Alamance County, Burlington, North Carolina.
Welcome to Talkline. Glad to have you along. Hope you will give us a call. Join in the conversation. 336-222-9224 Talkline. My question, this is what I said on the air. Have you asked the sheriff? And the answer to that was, well, I assume that some of the other people had asked him. I don't know, but it was not a direct thing. So when I got off the air yesterday, I called the sheriff. Now, one of the great things about the sheriff that we've got, Sheriff Johnson, God love him, he's accessible. You can get him on the phone. So I just dialed up the sheriff's department and asked the sheriff's secretary, is the sheriff in and not busy? Can I speak to him? And here comes Sheriff Johnson on the phone. And I asked him, I said, I had a call yesterday. We were talking about ICE detainers and things like that. And I said, can you give me a number? And he said, I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'll call you back. Well, he called me back and gave me the information. We were talking about whether we were, ICE will issue a detainer, want you to hold somebody for them so they can come get them. And, the caller was wondering how many times we do that. Well, the sheriff was very straightforward. And he answered my question 100%. I have, as most of you know, I have a lot of respect for the sheriff. He and I don't always agree on everything, but goodness gracious, he's one of those people that if you ask him a question, he'll give you an answer. He'll tell you what he thinks. There were 21 in jail with ICE detainers. So they're being 21 people, 21 supposedly, I would assume, illegal aliens. That's an assumption on my part. 21 illegal aliens are in the Alamance County Jail with an ICE detainer waiting for ICE to come get them. And then so far this year, 106 were in jail with ICE detainers and have been released to ICE. 106. So I have 21 in jail right now, waiting to be released to ICE, and 106 so far this year, and that's we still got part of the year to go. And that was information that I got from Terry Johnson yesterday, and I appreciate that. I really do.
That I survived a echo
cardiogram.
Yeah, there you go. Getting used to the word. But anyway, yes, my cardiologist discovered several weeks ago that I had a heart murmur. And so yesterday they performed that function. I'm thankful to say that the results were excellent. Since my ministry is concerned about how employees and managers perform their job, I pay a very close attention to such performance, especially when they're connected in any way to my health. I can tell you folks, I was truly blessed to have had a wonderful lady perform this procedure yesterday morning. I would say that medical technician is probably in her 50s. And she told me that in her younger years that she worked in finance and she utterly despised it. She thought that returning to school would be the answer so she could move into an occupation that she would enjoy. But the problem is she had children to raise, so she simply didn't have the sufficient time to obtain a degree. But I want to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, the story does not stop here. Hear this, folks. After her children became grown, she enrolled at a university there in Tampa, Florida, where she was living at the time. She earned her bachelor's and her master's degree, and she's now employed by Duke Health. There's a lesson to this. It's never too late. It's never too late to allow God Almighty to place you where He wants you to be according to His calling for your life. I've spoken of that often. No wonder I could hear joy coming out of her voice. As I've often said, when you first discover the calling, and you, Mr. Harry, above all, know this, and then you're employed on the job that satisfies the calling, you're going to become a happy warrior. Now, I share this story this morning for a reason. I am tired of the pity parties. I am tired of the grumbling. Oh me, oh my, I'm so poor. I'm being treated so unfairly. You see, the Democrats are zeroing in on this kind of junk, zeroing in on the young people. And this is their message. You know, with Trump in the White House, you don't have a chance. Oh, pitiful you. You can hardly buy the groceries and the gasoline. And oh yes, their affordability garbage is being issued out as they prey upon the young people. And of course, many of that party, they don't stop there. They're suggesting there's even a better way through socialism. And those young people who are being indoctrinated in liberal universities and who have never been exposed to the real lessons of capitalism, they're eating it up. Because the Democrats take advantage of their pure ignorance. That's exactly right. And yes, the Trump haters are feeding that crap to them. But you see, the truth of America is it's still the land of opportunity for all who will fulfill their responsibilities. And that includes, praise God, that older lady who attended to me yesterday at Duke. But you see, the Democrats they'll tell you that they are the ones who will reach out to you and help you. Oh, for God, please, I don't need your help. No one needs your help. You see, there's no better example than this Roy Cooper. How about this? Running for the Senate. And he's telling you through these propaganda TV messages that if you elect me, that I'll go after those insurance companies that are ripping you off. Really? Really, Roy? Well, if that were the truth, Roy, why didn't you go after them when you were Attorney General? Here is the truth about the Democratic Party. Promises made, but promises not kept. Promises made, but promises not kept. You see, when they tell me what they're going to do for me, I immediately respond by saying, please leave me alone. I'm afraid of what you're going to do to me. When someone asks me what qualifications do I have in operating worker measures, I don't dwell on the college degrees. I have earned, or that kind of thing. No, I just don't dwell on that. My number one qualification, that I am one who was born and raised myself on Poverty Road. I know what it is to have a guardian who often wondered if she was going to have enough money to buy the groceries so we could have food on the table. I've been there. Before entering college, my guardian told me, Jim, you're going to have to work to finance your education because I don't have any money. And rest assured, I didn't throw a pity party. I didn't run to the government for any assistance. I have been on Poverty Row, and therefore I have a right to address this subject this morning. Obtaining an excellent education removed me from Poverty Row, praise God, but it goes beyond education. It comes right back to that calling, the calling. Yes, I had a love for broadcasting, and Harry Myers knows I still do. I absolutely do. But that was not God's plan for my life. I am tired of the whining.
We don't care what you're tired of.
Oh me, oh my, what will I do? I don't have any money like the older folks have. Well, for God's sake, of course you don't, because you haven't lived as long as we've lived. Get real. You will be able to accumulate wealth in your time on this earth if you work hard and invest, then you can become like the rest of us. So I will deliver the same message to a young person that I would deliver to a homeless person. It's time to get to work. Stop whining. If you're working at McDonald's and the income is just so low, well, put on your thinking cap. Determine how you can escape from this status. I mean, would you like to obtain a college education that will guarantee that you will increase your income substantially? Consider going to night school. I come back to the lady at Duke Medical who administered the medical test for me yesterday. She and I would have never met yesterday if she had been attending a whining party. Under Donald Trump's economy, I repeat once again, 38,000 job openings in the Triad area, including Burlington, North Carolina, and many of these jobs do not require college education. In many cases, technical training through the community college is all that's needed. It's time to stop making excuses and stop the whining. Time to stop listening to doom and gloom coming from people like Michael Graves, who wishes to paint the worst picture to young people only because Donald Trump's in the White House. I'm going to tell you something, folks. I learned long ago, I can't accomplish anything. You see, can't accomplish anything, but can. But only if you depart from the pity party and depart from those whose minds have been corrupted with socialism. Get away from that, or they will lead you down a path to a future that is reckless, and it'll be too late. They come directly from the evil forces of hell, several days ago, and even though it's serious, I sort of chuckled at the way it was put. One person put it this way when it comes to socialism. He said, I'm too attached to luxuries like toilet paper, electricity, food, clean water, and shoes. Have a wonderful day. God bless you, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you. 222-9224. 222-9224.
You over in England and you criticize a radio host, do you get shut down like I was last time I called?
Oh, Michael, you never get shut down. You get to talk all you want, and you know it. That's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, well, but
Michael, of all the people, I moved on.
Not cut me off.
Like I've told you 100 times, Michael, I moved on. You'd already talked 11 minutes, and we just moved on. I just continued the show without you.
That's fine. But I want the thanking audience that listens to this show, and there are those who think. I hear from them a lot. I want to thank the audience to know, to just think about, ponder this. Now, you have had people on here that criticize the whole black race, is calling them lazy. You had people...
Not while I was on the phone that didn't get criticized for that. Michael, nobody has ever done that while I was on the radio on this program. Now, there have been some people that said that those kinds of things were talked about while I was not here. Well, if I had been here, they would not have said that. You wouldn't have heard it because I would have bleeped it, and I would do it today. So you didn't hear that when I was on the air.
Yes, I did, because Mark had hosted this show, and I don't know how long, because I guess he doesn't want to deal with the garbage that's been said on this show. So, but anyway, you heard people criticize the Confederate, criticize the whole Muslims as basically jihadists on this show. You heard people say that black women were jealous of white women because of their hair on this show. And because I said that this show was being made comfortable for racists like that, you didn't move on from there, but you moved on from me because I said...
Michael, I don't believe that. I think that's not true. I think that's absolutely untrue. I think you're being way too critical of that. That's not what's going on this program. If that were going on this program, you wouldn't be able to stay on. You would be cut off all the time. And you never cut off. You always get your 5 minutes and more.
You moved on.
Because you'd already been on for 11 minutes, Michael. No, it didn't have anything to do with your statements. It had nothing to do with it. I know you want to think that, and you want to tell everybody that, because you dislike me so much for some reason. I don't know what it is. But the truth of the matter is, it had nothing to do with what you were saying. I moved on because you'd already been talking for 11 minutes.
Okay, right. But, maybe when people disparage a whole race of people, maybe you should move on from them.
No, I speak up and say how stupid they are. When the Muslim comment was made, that's exactly what I did, and you know it.
Made. Now you remember.
And you know it.
They were made when you was on this show. Now you remember them.
No, you said about black people, Michael. That's what we were talking about. We weren't talking about Muslims. You said Muslims after the comment about black people. And I said nobody has said that while I was on this program. And then you said something about Muslim people, and I didn't say it because I didn't want to interrupt you. You're absolutely correct. Somebody has said that on more than one occasion, and I have spoken up and said that is absolutely wrong. I think I usually say painting with a broad brush, which you've also criticized me for saying.
Well, let me move on before I get moved on again, before I can get anything out of substance, because you're always going to battle.
No, I'm not. As a matter of fact, Michael, I seldom ever say anything to you until you attack me. I don't even speak. I let you talk for all the time you want to talk and never say a word. You start attacking me. Start talking about me, and you're going to get comments from me every time. And if you talk over 11 minutes, we're going to move on.
Can I make racist statements?
Michael, I have allowed you to say whatever you want to say. I've never not allowed you to say whatever you want to say.
Well, one of the things that was said was the President of the United States got permission for the ballroom. And you read a nice little article where it said in April he got permission from the commission. But what you did read at the beginning of the article, he got permission in April from a commission that he fired everybody off the board. And
you said that, Michael, and I pointed that out. Michael, no. You're saying that I started at a piece of an article that's not true. I started from the beginning of the question that I asked and went to the end of it. There was no article. It was a question that I asked the internet, and I read exactly what it said. Exactly what it said, and mentioned that you had said that they had fired the people on the committee right after I had read that. I mentioned that because you said it earlier.
That's not the point I was making. If you would be so fragile to know that I'm getting ready to say something that's going to make you wrong, if you will let me get it out, then maybe you can criticize for the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is you read an article that said in April he got permission from this stacked committee. First of all, if you would have read the article in the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, you would have found out that he started building on the ballroom in October. Next, you would have found out that the court said, not Michael Graves, but the court said he did not have permission to do this because the commission can say, yes, the changes you are talking about are okay, but it is Congress who gives permission to do anything like that. And the court cited, in those articles, the court cited the laws and the reason why he did not have permission to do that. The court cited that. So he did not have permission to do that. Okay, that's just like me getting permission to play R&B 24/7 on WBAG from another station. That doesn't mean anything. So that is what you did not read. And let me just get to Jim real quick, please, because I know before you move on. Jim reminds me of Leslie Howard on Will and Grace. Well. All I can say is bless Jim Hart. Jim says people like Michael Graves are turning young people. Well, see, that was just another poll that came out. In 2024, Donald Trump was plus 24 with young people. He's now negative 56 with young people. I guess that's Michael Graves doing. But see, you know what doing it is? You're talking about promises made and promises kept. I'm working mentoring a young man who graduated with his master's degree in finance from UNCG. He cannot find a job. You have young people that have went to school, did what they were supposed to do, and cannot find a job in an economy that where 23,000 jobs were lost. You have young people going to fighting wars that Donald Trump said wouldn't be no more foreign wars. You have young people that financing Israel, healthcare, and home life, and even when they move into new houses, young people taxes are financing that when they have to still stay in their mother's housing. You have promises made, promises kept. I thought the gas prices would go down. I thought energy was going to be cut in half. I thought the deficit would be cut in half. I thought you was going to get a Doge check. I thought you was going to get a tariff check. Those were promises that was made, Jim. Those what those young people heard. And so you keep telling, you are old man at the end of your life. You keep telling people you're the best advertisement that there are. Because you're telling young people.
It just arrived. Look who just committed psychological warfare in broad daylight.
They don't understand that the economy is bad when the GDP has shrunk. They don't feel that the economy is bad when you have, because there was a question about you only picking certain parts of the economy. You're right. I did talk about the jobs report was 23,000 jobs. 23,000 jobs that were lost. And GDP was shrinking. But what about consumer confidence, which is down by 70%? 70% of the people in the United States now think the economy is headed in the wrong direction. That's also a metric that economists use. What about consumer spending? That's down 60%. That's also a metric that is used to determine if the economy is good. What about inflation? If inflation outpaces mentions that true economists, people go to school and study and are experts at the Times, New York Times, and Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg, also
often become careless afterward.
It's writing reports that you talk about socialism. Cato Institute. You know who the Cato Institute is, don't you, Harry? You know who the Cato Institute. They wrote that the biggest socialism act that's going on right now is from the Trump White House, when the White House is buying companies and owning those pieces of company, which has never been done before. When we loan monies to the big three auto industries to bail them out, we did not say that we have to own your company. That is being going on there. That's why the Cato Institute pointed out. So young people are feeling these things. And they have some old man sitting in Alamance County who is telling them that what they're feeling is not what they're feeling. And they're talking about socialism, and all they're talking about is surviving. So Jim, bless your heart. You are the biggest advertisement for that number that the Trump is seeing falling and up to 70% of disapproval, 56% disapproval from young people. You just keep getting on the radio station. The Democratic Party needs to pay you and put you, plaster you all over, where you can say, I'm receiving my Social Security, I'm receiving all of my Medicaid benefits, and you young people got it wrong, although you paying for me. You keep on doing that, Jim. Just bless your heart.
All right. Well, Michael, bless your heart. 70%? I don't think so. I think you need to go check that. Look at the Gallup poll. Confidence is not down. 70% is down, and that's the whole point. The point that Michael is making is confidence is down in the economy. Sure it is. Absolutely. Absolutely it is. That's the problem that all presidents have. In the first 2 years before the midterm, that's the problem that the Democrats have had. That certainly Obama had. Reagan had a terrible midterm. All these things. The confidence goes down because the people, the regular people, like folks that work for a living, don't see these changes that they think that they want, and it's always the same. That's why traditionally, you lose House seats, sometimes Senate seats in the midterms when the party of the president, loses seats. That's traditionally what has happened. So this is not anything that's unusual. Michael's pointing it out, that it only happens, he's got the idea that it only happens when Trump's in office. No, it always happens. It happened to Clinton, to Obama, to Bush, it happens to people, to presidents, that people lose confidence in them. And I always wondered, and I can't answer this. I don't have an answer to this. This is one of those wonderments that I have. I wonder why that is. I never expect politicians to ever deliver what they say they're going to do, because they fail miserably at it all the time. If somebody says they will look into something, I'll believe that a whole lot quicker than if somebody says, I'll change that and it'll be different and, yada, yada, yada. We hear that all the time and they never do anything. It's like a congressman came and was on the air with us here, Bill Huff and I, and he said, Harry, the problem is big things are hard to do, and what we were talking about is a drug benefit under Social Security. Something like 90% of all people wanted it, but the Congress had been trying and couldn't get it through. They finally got it through, but it took years and years and years. And the congressman said, Harry, big things are hard to do, and they are. They really are. Big things if it's political, big things are really hard to do. Now, the thing that Michael was talking about I didn't read an article. I asked a question, and the answer was what I read to you. Did the president get permission? Yeah, he did. He got permission. Now, what Michael is saying, and I pointed this out when we were talking about it, what Michael is saying is absolutely true. He wanted permission, didn't think he could get it from the people that were on there, so he changed the committee, which the President of the United States is allowed to do. He didn't do anything illegal. Now, they're dragging it through court, and it's no telling what the final outcome of that will be. You never know. You never know what the final outcome could be. But under the present laws, as we have now, does the president have the right to change those people on that committee? Absolutely he does. Absolutely he does. Now, what they're arguing about, and I mentioned this in my comment, I said to you, after, he said I read an article. It wasn't an article, it was an answer to a question. And what they said was it is in court now, and the reason that it's in court is because there's money being spent, and that if money is being spent, then Congress is the one that has to do that. Now, what they had said to begin with was there would be no money spent that came from the United States government. It would all be private funds. And the whole point of the thing was, did they not know that Congress had to give them the money? Well, they didn't ask for any money from Congress. This was money that was coming from people that were donating. Now, what the people that want to take it to court have figured out is that there'll be some money spent somehow, somewhere. You can't build a building that big. They're doing two things. They're building the ballroom and then something that Congress did approve. That there's going to be money spent that'll go back and forth between those two things. And if there is any money that goes into that ballroom anyway, anyhow, it's what the court is saying, it's what the lawsuit says, is that has to come from Congress, and that he can't build this. It's not possible, this is the way they're looking at it, it's not possible to build something like that big without ending up spending some money that the Congress would have to approve. And hazard a guess, that's probably true. You can't build anything that big. You can always find some way. If it costs $500 million to build the ballroom, and you build the ballroom, you get the check for $500 million, you hand it over to the contractors, they build the ballroom for $500 million. At the end of the thing, you're going to the Congress is going to have to appropriate money for the maintenance of that building. So you can file a court suit. I'm just pie in the sky kind of say, file a court suit that said that the ballroom did not, could not have been built because money was going to be spent from Congress. Congress had to approve it, even though the building was built with private funds. It's going to have to be maintained. There are all sorts of things you could do. If you want to give the president a hard time, there are lots of ways to do it. The government is so big that the Democrats can go after the Republican presidents, and the Republican presidents can go after the Democrats.
But numbers, you can twist numbers around, but I mean that's just what's on the demographics. If you look up at demographics of Alamance County, so I don't know how many people have been arrested. I don't know what they've been charged for. It's just hard for me to believe that that many people, 30-some thousand people. We only had 109 that committed a crime and then got sent to ICE for deportation. That's not a lot of people. And if you use the black demographic at 14%, then if you use it as a comparison, you'd only say 0.00 less than 0.002. And blacks have been arrested, and then it'd get worse when you got to whites. So it doesn't sound like maybe we're arresting a lot of people if you use the actual percentages of population. But maybe we just got a perfect place here. That's the only thing I know. I know our schools can't handle much more of it, and with most of these people not being able to speak English, it's putting a tremendous burden on the Alamance County taxpayers, to take care of this. And I said, we're not just teaching them. We have to teach them English before we can ever start teaching them. and graduated. That kind of stuff's happening everywhere, not just here. That you just pass kids through now. But going back to all Michael's statistics, where in the world does he find these numbers?
I don't know. I think that you can look. Let me just say this. I wondered that myself. When he said 70%, I just immediately looked it up on my phone, and it's not 70%. It just isn't. Now, is there some place where 70% is a number that is used as a statistic for that? Well, probably. I just don't know where it is. Gallup is the one that I saw in the poll, and it doesn't say 70%.
Yeah, I mean, the young people, they've been taught and indoctrinated to think that everything's supposed to be free, and you're supposed to get everything for free. So, I understand why they're depressed, because they've been told it's going to be free. It's like the rude awakening. Oh no, we've been told all the way through high school and college that I'm going to have a free place to live, free transportation, I'm going to get a job making six figures, and I'm going to have a degree in women's studies. And that's what they think.
Well, the young people that I talk to, what they think, I have a different take on it than that. What they're thinking is that they're going to go to school, pick a degree that they like, something they want to do, and when they get the degree, they're gonna get a job in that. They're gonna make enough money to buy a house and to get a car and to raise a family. And they're finding out, no, that's not happening. And one of the reasons that that's not happening is that many of the college kids, and it's 25%, they're getting degrees that aren't going to pay the kind of money that they think that they are entitled to get. That's a problem, and we need to face that problem with young people. Don't get a degree in women's studies if you think you want to make $100,000 a year with that degree. That's not going to happen. It's just not one of those things that you can get. What you need to do, and I think that the guy that does the jobs thing on television, where he's always doing the dirty job.
I ain't talking about 6 hours a day.
I know.
At Starbucks. Yeah. You got to work, and when you come out with this education, and plus they're in debt over their head because it was stupid idiots wouldn't borrow money. Yeah. And borrowed more money than the education costs because they wanted to go on spring break and to the Bahamas or somewhere.
Some of that is true. Yeah.
There was a lot of that.
Well, it may be a lot, but the thing is, there are a lot of kids that didn't do that.
Well, I finished high school and went to college for 2 years, and I worked. I did. I worked extremely hard. And I worked extremely hard under stress and abuse. Yes, I did. Hallelujah. God brought me through it. But you know what? It was all stolen through the government. And that's a damn shame. And I'm so glad the Most High is looking. He sits high and looks low. And you ain't got away with nothing that you thought you got away with.
In the big beautiful bill, you don't ever hear Michael talk about it. Because one thing is they only apply to people that work. That's all they apply to.
You're not going to hear good things from Democrats about Republicans. That's just not the way it's going to work. It doesn't.
But if you want the benefits that the man, all the benefits he's giving you is to encourage you to work.
Sure, absolutely.
And if you don't want to work and still get benefits, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, and socialism ain't going to get that for you either. That's the thing that they need. All right, listen, I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Take care. 222-9224. Graham Sporting Goods.
You've been listening to WBAG, Burlington, North Carolina. Now let's listen to a motivational speech by King Denzel Washington of Gnostic Five Senses Knowledge, Kings and Queens Entertainment Academy.
There was a moment when they thought your story was over. When the whispers grew louder, the laughter became bolder. and people around you quietly convinced themselves that you would never rise again. They looked at your silence and called it weakness, looked at your setbacks and called them your destiny, and looked at your absence as proof that they had finally defeated you. But they made one devastating mistake. They judged your lowest moment as your final chapter. What they never saw was what was happening behind the scenes. While they were talking, you were rebuilding. While they were celebrating, you were transforming. While they were counting you out, you were gathering strength, wisdom, discipline, and courage for a return they could never have predicted. And now something has shifted. Your name is being mentioned again. Your presence feels different. Your confidence carries a different weight. The same people who once ignored you are suddenly watching closely, wondering what happened. They expected you to come back, broken, desperate, and seeking approval. But you returned with peace in your spirit, fire in your heart, and a vision they cannot understand. Your comeback didn't simply surprise them. It shook the entire town because it exposed how completely they misunderstood you. This is not about revenge. This is about revelation. It is about the moment your life becomes undeniable evidence.
This is a true story narrated by Denzel Washington that happened to James Davis Walker Jr., whom everybody know as Jody, that's close to him in Alamance County, Burlington, North Carolina.
But you returned with peace in your spirit, fire in your heart, and a vision they cannot understand. Your comeback didn't simply surprise them. It shook the entire town because it exposed how completely they misunderstood you. This is not about revenge. This is about revelation. It is about the moment your life becomes undeniable evidence that being pushed down does not mean being finished. Sometimes God allows you to disappear from the crowd so he can rebuild you away from the noise. Sometimes the season that looks like rejection is actually preparation. And sometimes the people who thought they buried your future are forced to watch you rise higher than they ever imagined. So if you've been wondering why everything became so quiet, why certain people walked away, why doors closed, and why you had to rebuild yourself when nobody seemed to care, listen carefully. Your return may be the very thing they were never prepared to witness. The chapter they thought was your ending may become the chapter where everything changes. There was a season when people looked at you and thought they already knew how your story would end. They saw the setbacks, the silence, the closed doors, the moments when you had to walk away without applause, and they made a conclusion that felt permanent. You were finished. They believed your best days were behind you. They whispered about your struggles, judged your decisions, and perhaps even celebrated the distance between who you once were and who they thought you could no longer become. But what they failed to understand was that your disappearance was never surrender. It was preparation. You were not walking away from your destiny. You were stepping away from the noise long enough to hear your own purpose again. Sometimes the most powerful comeback begins in a place where nobody is watching. It begins in the quiet mornings when you have no audience, no encouragement, and no evidence that anything is changing. It begins when you decide that you are going to rebuild, even if nobody claps for the process. That is exactly where your transformation started. While people were discussing your absence, you were developing strength. While they were expecting you to return desperate for their approval, you were learning how to live without needing it. While they were assuming you had lost everything, you were discovering something they could never take from you, your ability to begin again. And now your return carries a completely different energy, because you are not coming back as the person they remember. You are coming back wiser. You are coming back more disciplined. You are coming back with boundaries that did not exist before. You are coming back with a deeper understanding of who deserves access to your life and who only wanted access to your weakness. This is why your comeback is shaking people. It isn't simply because you achieved something. It is because you achieved it after they had already written you off. They were comfortable with the version of you that doubted yourself. They understood the version of you that constantly explained your choices. They knew how to manipulate the version of you that desperately wanted everyone to understand your heart. But now they are encountering someone different. You no longer feel the need to prove every accusation wrong. You no longer chase people who deliberately walk away. You no longer beg for recognition from people who ignored your value.
Oh no, I'm not going to give to dogs what is holy. If they don't want it, let them walk in the wrong direction. Let them stay fools and be ignorant. The Most High says, don't give unto dogs what is holy. they will trample over it. And that's exactly what they did.
It is because you achieved it after they had already written you off. They were comfortable with the version of you that doubted yourself. They understood the version of you that constantly explained your choices. They knew how to manipulate the version of you that desperately wanted everyone to understand your heart. But now they are encountering someone different. You no longer feel the need to prove every accusation wrong. You no longer chase people who deliberately walk away. You no longer beg for recognition from people who ignored your value. You have discovered that sometimes the greatest response to disrespect is elevation. Sometimes you don't need to confront the people who underestimated you. You simply need to keep becoming everything they said you couldn't become. And that is what makes this return so powerful. The people who thought your silence meant defeat are beginning to realize that silence gave you room to rebuild. The people who thought your isolation meant loneliness are beginning to understand that solitude gave you clarity. The people who thought your delay meant denial are beginning to witness that timing was preparing something they could never have predicted. Your comeback is not happening because you suddenly became lucky. It is happening because you survived things that were supposed to make you quit. You endured disappointment without allowing it to permanently harden your heart. You experienced betrayal without allowing it to destroy your ability to trust yourself. You walked through uncertainty without surrendering your vision. And every painful chapter added another layer to the person you are becoming. That is why when you finally step back into the room, people feel something different. They may not know exactly what changed, but they can sense that you are no longer seeking the same things. You are no longer interested in being accepted by everyone. You are interested in being aligned with your purpose. You are no longer obsessed with making everyone understand your journey. You are focused on completing it. You are no longer trying to convince people that you have value. Your life is becoming the evidence. And perhaps the most beautiful part is that your comeback does not require you to become cruel. You don't have to destroy anyone. You don't have to expose every person who hurt you. You don't have to announce every victory. Let your peace speak. Let your consistency speak. Let your growth speak. Let the results speak. Because the strongest comeback is not the one that makes the most noise. It is the one that becomes impossible to ignore. One day, the same people who watched you fall will watch you rise, and they will realize they made the mistake of confusing your temporary struggle with your permanent identity.
I Priestess and the World card. So, somebody tried to mess with you. Somebody tried to come at you in all areas of life. Now, I am getting that this is a spiritual attack, but it also could be somebody trying to interfere physically in things, right? And I'm getting that, like, this person, they wanted to kind of make you miserable. Okay, this stems from jealousy. Now, this is somebody that God guided them to you for a reason, because this is somebody that they are so cold-hearted. They are very ruthless with what they do to people. I just seen 111. I'm getting like this destruction energy. I'm getting this energy where they love to destroy things. Like they have the spirit of destruction. Anything that they have, they tend to ruin. They also have some type of false sense of power here. Right, have gone around trying to mess with people in the past. They're very vengeful, whoever this is. Like, if somebody does them wrong, or if somebody, like, rubs them the wrong way, they may, like, curse them. That's the energy. And if they don't curse them, they could just try to intentionally cause conflict here. Create some type of issue, like, make issues arise in people's lives that kind of go against them in some type of way. Now, this person came across you for a reason. This person, they tried the wrong person. You are somebody that, with the High Priestess energy here, you are somebody that is divinely protected, but you also are very magical. Right? You are somebody that you naturally can see through people, read energy, but you're very quiet about it, so people may not expect it. Right? You are very powerful. right? So remember how I said that they have a false sense of power? They think that they're powerful because of the things that they inflict on people. You are real life powerful. So remember how I said that they have a false sense of power? They think that they're powerful because of the things that they inflict on people. You are real life powerful. You don't have to do anything to anyone. Okay? The thing is about you is you seem to be so divinely protected that if anyone tried to come against you, they receive instant karma. I just seen 303 on the timer. I'm also getting that you've seen this person coming. Right? Like, I'm getting that you've seen them coming. I'm getting also that they, I don't know, it's like they live in your shadow is what I'm getting. Yeah, this person, they feel like you get more attention than them, you get more recognition than them, people love you, right? Pure jealousy. This is pure jealousy that a place of jealousy is where they're coming from. They seem to be somebody that is very competitive. They seem to be somebody that they feel like they are like very powerful. They feel like they need control. They're the type of person that wants to be the best in every room that they walk in. And if they're not, they'll cause some type of drama. Now, when they came across you, this also could be like somebody you've known your whole life. It could be like a sibling or something. But when either they came across you or it could have been happening the whole time, it's like they just kind of, they felt like they were second best to you in every way. In every way. Like, they feel like you constantly outdo this person. You get more attention than this person. They feel second best, right? And I'm getting that, I don't know, this person, when they're not in their element, they can get really, like, they're definitely out of their element, but they can get very, like, competitive to the point where they'll do anything, right? This is somebody that you may not even know this person, or you wouldn't expect this person, right? I'm getting that they try to come for your love life. They don't want people to love you. That's what I'm getting. Like, they get jealous when people love you. And you're somebody that people just naturally love. You naturally tend to attract people, and you have this, like, energy, the energy of comfort around you. Like, you're somebody that you make people feel comfortable. You make people feel accepted in a way. You have a very nurturing energy. I'm also getting that this person, for some of you, this could be like a sister or a brother or a cousin. It feels like somebody that maybe people always either ask about you or they praise you to this person. It could even be a partner. I don't know who it is, but it's somebody that they kind of wish on your like they pray on your downfall. They kind of wish on your like they pray on your downfall. They wish for you to fail. And I'm getting that they did something here. Yeah. They also, it's like they're trying to stop you. They're trying to stop your progress, or they try to send some type of spiritual attack. For most of you, I'm actually getting that this is somebody that came across you recently and they needed some type of wake-up call, right? Because...
Well, they got their wake-up call. I tell you that much. They got their wake-up call.
And I'm getting that they did something here. Yeah. They also... It's like they're trying to stop you. They're trying to stop your progress, or they try to send some type of spiritual attack. For most of you, I'm actually getting that this is somebody that came across you recently and they needed some type of wake-up call, right? Because, again, this is somebody who thinks they can go around causing issues for people, throwing people under the bus, spiritually attacking people, messing with people's blessings just because they want to feel some type of sense of control. So it's like they tried this on you because the way this person, like, they feel like, again, second best to you. They feel like that they could not compete with you. So it's like they love to compete with people and win, but with you, they thought they couldn't. Like, there was no way that they would be able to win, right? You seem to be somebody that, again, like, you just have this, like, authentic and pure energy, and they cannot replicate your authenticity.
Before my Lord I stand, and in me not one blemish does he see. When I placed all my burdens on him, he washed them all from me. Oh, why did I wait so long?
Why did I wait so long
to learn such a living song? And how could I stay so close without seeing him, never seeing him? Before my Lord I stand, and in me not one blemish does he see. When I placed all my burdens on him, he washed them all from me. Oh, why do you wait so long?
Why do you wait so long
to learn such a living song? And how can you stay so close without seeing him, never seeing him? Clean before my Lord I stand, and in me not one blemish does he see. 'Cause when I placed all my burdens on him, he washed them all from me. I stand clean before my Lord now. 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 'Cause he washed them all from me. Oh yeah.